All right, let's talk about one of the biggest debates in car culture, a rivalry that basically set the stage for the entire Fast and Furious saga. We're talking American muscle versus Japanese tuners. This is the clash that started it all. And really, it all boils down to these two. I mean, look at them. On the left, you've got Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger RRT. It's just raw, angry American power. And on the right, Brian O'Connor's Nissan Skyline GTR, a totally different beast. We're talking a high-tech marvel of Japanese engineering. This was way more than just a car race. It was a battle of philosophies. So you gotta ask yourself, which side are you on? Are you all about that V8 roar, living life a quarter mile at a time? Or are you more into the precision, the technology, the art of carving up a corner in a perfectly balanced tuner? Yeah, this rivalry, it was the absolute core of the first few movies. And it wasn't just about who was fastest, you know? It was this incredible clash of cultures. Old school American tradition going head to head with cutting edge technology. And it all went down on the streets of LA. So let's start with Dom's crew. For them, it was all about the Church of Muscle. And yeah, they really treated it like a religion. It wasn't just about liking big cars, it was a whole belief system. And the first commandment? There's no replacement for displacement. Simple as that. Bigger engine, more power, end of story. And the high priest of this church? Dominic Toretto, of course. That Charger? Man, it wasn't just a car to him. It was everything. It was a family heirloom, a terrifying monster that he both loved and feared. It was his history, his power. You could say the car was Dom. So what does that philosophy actually look like? Well, it's all about pure, unfiltered power. You're talking about massive V8 engines. The sound isn't just loud, it's aggressive. It's something you feel in your chest. These cars are heavy, they're intimidating, and they were born for one thing: dominating a straight line. It's all tied into this incredible legacy of American drag racing and, good old-fashioned rebellion. And look, it wasn't just Dom who believed this. It was his whole family. Take Letty's Plymouth Barracuda. It's the exact same vibe, right? Just pure, raw, unapologetic power. For them, the muscle car was basically their crew's uniform. Okay, so now let's flip the script completely. Across the street, there was a whole different world popping up. And this world wasn't about brute force at all. Nope. This was about science, about technology. It was about the art of tuning.
And the poster boy for this movement? Brian O'Connor. When he rolled up in that Skyline, it was a statement. He wasn't just choosing a car, he was choosing a side. He was the ultimate challenger. You know that saying, he was bringing a scalpel to a hammer fight.
The whole approach here is different. Instead of giant engines, they'd use smaller ones that revved super high and then slap on a turbo to force more air in. It was all about advanced tech, smart electronics, and all-wheel drive for insane grip. The focus was on balance, on handling. So while the muscle cars were kings of the straight line, these tuners, inspired by the winding mountain roads in Japan, absolutely owned the corners. And just like Dom's crew, Brian had his own family, and the tuner scene was way more diverse. I mean, you had Han's incredible Mazda RX-7, that beautiful orange drift machine with its crazy rotary engine. Then you have Mia's Acura Integra, which was just so clean and agile. Every car was a perfect reflection of the driver, but they were all connected by that same love for balance and technical skill. But then things got a little crazy. The movies exploded. They went from street racing in LA to pulling off insane heists all over the globe. The stakes got so much higher and, you guessed it, the cars had to evolve too. Big time. I mean, think about it. They went from hijacking trucks full of DVD players to fighting like global terrorists. The whole game changed. And that raw, street-level rivalry between muscle and tuner, it was about to smash head-on into a completely different league of cars. And the villains got a serious upgrade. All of a sudden, it wasn't just other street racers they were up against. It was guys like Shaw, showing up in hyper-engineered European supercars. A McLaren. That's a whole different level of speed and precision. So what do you do when the bad guys show up in McLarens? You level up your own garage. The Cruise collection started looking less like a back alley meet and more like something you'd see parked in front of a casino in Monaco. And here's Tej with a Lambo, which pretty much says it all about their new status, right? But here's what's so cool. The Japanese cars didn't get left behind. They evolved too. Here's Giselle in a modern Nissan GTR. This car is the direct descendant, the spiritual successor to Brian's old Skyline. But now it's a full-blown supercar killer, proving that Japanese engineering could hang with the best from Italy or Germany. No question.
So what happened to that old fight, right? The muscle versus tuner debate? Well, as the missions got crazier and the stakes got higher, something really interesting happened. Those old lines started to fade away, and something else, something more important, took its place.
This whole thing that started as a total clash of ideas, brute force versus precision, old school tradition versus new school tech, it turned into a partnership. They figured out that to win, they needed both. Sometimes you need the hammer, and sometimes you need the scalpel. You need the Charger to plow through a wall, and you need the GTR to outmaneuver the enemy.
And in the end, that's what it was all about. The garage, with all its different cars, became the perfect metaphor for the family. You had a bunch of different people, each one a specialist with their own skills, all working together. The loyalty wasn't to Dodge or Nissan anymore. The loyalty was to family.
And Dom said it best, didn't he? It don't matter what's under the hood. The only thing that matters is who's behind the wheel. That's the core lesson of the whole franchise. The engine size, the turbo, where the car was made, none of that is as important as the person driving it. I mean, for over 20 years, we've seen the cars go from 10-second street machines to literal rocket ships. But that one central idea of family, that never changed. It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? No matter what you drive, American muscle, a JDM legend, a European exotic, whatever, what does your car say?